So, Hani, I am excited because when we spoke last week and you were telling me a little bit about your perfumes, I was a little bit nervous because I don't know anything about like perfume industry.
Oh,
But then the
that is
fact
so
that you
nice,
were
sweet.
kind of like teaching me a little bit about Korean history through your perfumes, I found it almost like perfect for kind of a Cambridge recorded conversation. So can you tell me a little bit about yourself, like what you do, and about Heroes of Korea as well?
My name is Hani Oh, and I'm a founder and a perfumer of Heroes of Korea.
Hmm.
Heroes of Korea is a Korean niche perfume founded in 2020. Wow, it's
2020.
been 5 years.
Wow.
Yeah. And I was inspired by Heroes of Korea, the real heroes of Korea.
Hmm.
So, a little bit about myself. I had a cataract in my 20s.
Huh.
Yeah, no, none of the medical doctors, they found out why I had a cataract in my 20s.
Wow.
But after that, I had a retina detachment.
Hmm.
So I had several serious surgeries and yeah,
Wow.
the time. So I think because of that, I'm more interested in the things, olfactive things.
Huh.
Yeah. And also, luckily, I studied in New York. I studied fashion merchandising management in New York City. And after that, I launched my own business with my classmate. Then I learned a lot about running a business. Doesn't mean it has to be fancy or anything. It has to be sustainable.
Yes.
You should survive.
Yes.
So that was a real big lesson I had. But after that, so when I was in New York, there was a time BTS didn't exist. So I had to explain where I'm from
Yes.
with the 10,000 won Korean bill. Then the figure of 10,000 won, his name is Sejong the Great. And I had to explain we had a king whose name is Sejong the Great, who created a Korean alphabet because he loved his people so much. He loved his people, but because they didn't read, they are not educated. So they made a crime because they didn't know even that is a crime. So he literally created a Korean alphabet by himself. So I explained about it, and all the New Yorkers and then a lot of Americans and Europeans, they never heard about anything, something like that.
Yep.
So I had a great time to talk about Korea, where I'm from, and I always want to create a brand. And if I create a brand, I want to explain and deliver something great part of Korea.
Wow. So the brand is called Heroes of Korea.
Yes.
And the way that you even got into perfumes, like even before you started Heroes of Korea, did you always have an interest in perfumes? Like when you were in college and after you graduated? How did this interest and the decision to start Heroes of Korea, how did it emerge?
Yeah, so after New York, I worked as a branding consultant in Korea, and also I stayed in Paris for 2 months. And I was like, what am I supposed to do in Paris? Because I traveled quite well. So I talked with my friend who was working for L Korea, and he inspired me, why don't you meet somebody interesting, intriguing? So then I'm like, oh yeah, then who am I going to meet? I have met many interesting people. And then I had a cataract in my 20s, and then I had another like issues in my vision. So then I'm like, oh, then what about olfactive? Something invisible but makes something visible. So I decided to meet master perfumers in Paris, and luckily I had a Harper's Bazaar, Korea. They asked me to write about my experience, how to create a perfume in Paris. So I wrote about it, and then I met master perfumers in Paris. That's how I got into the world of perfume.
Wow, interesting. And the reason why you went to Paris in the first place was just to explore and experience like living in France. There was no like set program or internship or specific job opportunity. It was more so you being kind of adventurous.
Yes, just being adventurous, just like you. Relocate yourself to put yourself into somewhere new.
Yes.
So that's the period of time to me. Yeah.
So you went to France and you, I guess, worked under a master perfumer in France. Yeah.
Oh no, just I interviewed them and then I create a perfume with their team members together, and it was a really amazing experience because they just told me how they treat perfumes. And I found that the perfume is not just the liqueur with the scent. The perfume is more like culture and history because when Chanel launched Chanel number 5, the perfume, the legendary perfume in 1921, if you wore a perfume in Korea in 1921, you were not proud to say something like that because there was a time colonized by Japan in Korea. So that means something. Yeah, if your grandparents were a perfume in Korea, that means something. Yeah. So perfume is more like history and culture. And I found that it's just different. The accumulated experience, memories are different. So I want to approach the perfume in a Korean way because we don't grow up with the perfume Chanel number 5 from 1921.
And there is maybe the question that I asked you last time, which I found was pretty interesting, is like the practical value of having a perfume that is more catered to, let's say, Asian audience. Like you might say that these other perfumes, these other like luxury brands that have these mainstream perfumes, like they already exist. And so what is the purpose of having a perfume that's specific to Koreans or specific to Asian population in general? Can you explain a little bit about that? Like why you thought that would be useful?
Oh, because we don't grow up jasmine. We don't grow up eating a lot of cheese. And also we don't grow up people wear a lot of musky scent, powdery perfumes. So some perfumes made by French, made some Asian and also North America. They are not used to that. So one of my good friends who grew up in America, she told me that she wants to vomit. Her stomach was just this. She has a stomach ache. And then some Korean also said something same. They have a headache, they have a stomach ache, because we are not familiar with those kind of scents. It's so related to the food and also experience.
Yes, that's interesting. Like I guess like Asian food is different, and then the odors that we give off are quite different. And so there are, I would have imagined, even when you decided to launch Heroes of Korea or develop your own perfume, there are probably other Korea specific perfumes that existed. Or what can you tell me a little bit about what you've learned in the perfume industry? Because this is something that's very foreign to me, is perfumes in, let's say, China, Korea, Japan, other East Asian countries. These niche perfumes like your own, is there kind of a thriving, vibrant market of perfumers, or is this kind of a new wave?
Oh, this is just the beginning, but you found the newspapers, articles that Estee Lauder acquired the acquisition of niche perfumes called Frederic Malle, Labo, and Jo Malone. So it has been thriving. The market growth is over 2 digits. So
Wow.
it's very blooming industry. However, the Asian oriented perfumeries, just like me, it's just the beginning. And then I'm considered nearly the first literally the first and survivor,
Yeah.
probably the survivor who launched the perfume in 2020 and still launches a new perfume. I recently launched a new perfume last month. So I hope I survive.
Yes.
So
Yes.
it's literally the beginning stage of launching niche perfume in Asia. However, it was popular and it's still popular in America and also in Europe because that trend is from 2000. Because Frederic Malle was launched in 2000, but before Frederic Malle was launched in 1980s, there were other like niche perfumeries were launched in Paris.
Fascinating. And so you said you had started or founded Heroes of Korea. This was like 2020, roughly speaking, right?
Yes.
And when was it that you had gone to France and interviewed that master perfumer?
That was in 2013.
2013.
Yes.
So between 2013 and 2020, this was only an idea, the Heroes of Korea, the perfume brand. Can you tell me a little bit about like what happened in that like middle period and why you decided in 2020 to go all in?
Thank you for asking me. Yeah, because I learned a lot after I launched the brand with my friend in New York City. The business has to be sustainable.
Yes.
And then the business doesn't have to be fancy. So I thought of a lot. If I want to do something, I needed to gather people at first. After you create something, and then after that, you start meeting people and then attracting them, it's late. So I opened my blog first, and my blog has been generating over 5.5 million accumulated visitors. So I started writing about perfumes. So people who work in perfume industry in Korea, they visited my blog and then they studied through my blog. So that's how I attract people first.
Wow.
But then Instagram was launched in Korea and then it became popular. And I because I was in New York and then after Facebook, I saw Instagram. So I opened my Instagram and I wrote English and also Korean to talk about how the smell is different, the food is different. So I talked more about Korean food in terms of scent, the sesame leaves and things like that, very different spices in Korea. So I attract more people. So now I have 38K. Yeah, nearly 40K followers on my Instagram. So I started writing. At the same time, I also studying and also I create my own perfumes. Yeah, and then even though I didn't have my own brand, I gave a lecture. So I gave a lecture for even European luxury brands and also C-levels of the global corporations. Yeah, that's how I start my career.
Yeah.
In perfume industry. So after my book, and also I wrote my book, I Love Perfume, and after my book was out, literally all the perfume industry people in Korea, they DM'd me, they took a picture that, oh, my corporation, they purchased your book to educate us.
Wow.
Yeah. So I learned that, if you want to launch something, your own brand or your own company, you need people to be interested in or to pay,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So I think, so I learned that in New York in a harsh way. So after that, I attract my followers and my subscribers, and I think that is the thing I did between the Paris and when I launched the Heroes of Korea.
Wow.
And also at the same time, I worked as a branding consultant at a company. I needed to pay my beers.
Yes, of course,
Right? Yes.
of course.
Yeah.
And so your even your background or your influence, your interest in fashion. So you were born and raised in Korea, and then you just went to the States for university. Is that right?
Right. I worked in Korea, and also I went to I went to university in Korea, and then I worked in Korea. Then I studied in America.
Huh. And there was always a goal or a dream to kind of be an entrepreneur, have your own, whether it's like clothing brand or perfume, business. Is that always like this entrepreneurial path was always something that was interesting to you?
Yes. Since I was little, I had a vision that like, I do create my own brand, and I do present, I do give a speech, I do deliver some message about it. Yeah, so I always had a vision, something like that.
Wow, wow. And so this, I guess I don't know too much about perfume industry in general, but I guess you have 5 different perfumes. And when you were doing the interview with the perfume master in France, the types of questions that you asked him about, can you tell me a little bit about that experience and the experience right after of you starting to write on your blog and finding an audience? I'm just curious overall about like how that was.
Absolutely, because that exactly same question I asked to them in 2013 because I had no idea about perfume industry.
Yes.
But I think people have some misconception about perfume, but perfume is like the cloth. It's the last cloth, and then it literally completes your style. Just it's not visible.
Right.
But invisible perfume makes you visible. And just you enjoy it. And perfume is not the thing that like difficult, stylish, too fancy. No, it's more about your own memory and also your emotion. I told you before, I'm interested in new technology and I love to see and experience new technology things. And I always think then, and also I like sci-fi. So I always think like, what if AI, Android, they all look like us and they pretend they work just like us, then how and why they are different from us?
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I mean, now we don't need to be here. We don't need to present here, right? We have our own AI voice, and even we have our, face.
Yes, you can build an avatar in the virtual world.
Yeah,
yes.
virtual world, and I just only write the script, and then she or he's going to just talk just like me.
Right.
And YouTube videos are going to be just like that.
Yes.
But then, what is different? That thing and me. I think the things make human more human. I mean, no, human as a human.
Yes.
It's because of your own unique memory and emotion. And because it's not logical and there's no right answer or anything, if you say this is good, this is not good for me, and you're right because that's you, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So perfume is also like that. So what I found is people are very afraid to say, I like this perfume and I don't like this perfume. And they are so scared that what if I say I don't like this perfume, then people judge me. Oh, you have no taste. So I'm like, oh, but perfume is not something like that. What you receive and what you interpret in your mind, and if you like it, then it's your perfume, and if you don't like it, then it's not your perfume. So perfume affects your memory and emotion. It's proven because 2004 the Nobel Prize went to the team who wrote about how we smell. Yeah.
Yes.
And then what we smell, then it changes electronically, and then it travels to your brain. just passes by where controls the emotion, and it literally arrives near the thing governs your memories. That's why you smell and then you remember something. Yeah.
Yes.
So the smell and scent, perfumes, it's more about you, your memory and your emotion. So what I talk about perfume, the journey to find out your right perfume is the journey to find out who you are and then the person you like to become.
The person you like to become. That's very interesting. And it's very interesting because you have like Heroes of Korea as your brand, right? And so when you wear some of these perfumes, maybe you are hoping to embody some like personality or divine ideal of these individuals.
Yes.
Even when you talk about perfumes and like what makes them meaningful or like the significance of their smell, it's usually the context behind it, right? Like even when I listen to a lot of podcasts, and sometimes I'll listen to podcasts in different locations, and I can remember when I go back and I listen to old podcasts, like where I was when I was listening to a specific podcast, and just like how influential the context is to the experience, right? And it seems like it's the same thing with the perfumes, is the branding really influences the the emotion or like the vibe that you experience. So can you tell me a little bit about, you branded it as Heroes of Korea, and you have 5 perfumes here in front of me. Can you tell me a little bit about the inspiration behind why you decided to make this Heroes of Korea brand, and who some of these like significant figures are?
Yeah, so my inspiration is like, what if they are here today with us?
Yes.
What smell like? Yeah, so that's my first inspiration when I create a scent for them. And the funny thing is, like I create a scent for Heroes of Korea, who was a admirer, and then also who was a king,
Yes.
decision maker, and then artist. It's very funny that artists wear the perfume that I create for artists. Yeah. And decision makers, they wear a perfume. I create a perfume for a king. So it's like, oh, that is very interesting. Yeah. So what I first create a perfume was for Sejong the Great, who created a Korean alphabet.
Yes.
Because of his love for his people, we call Emin. The philosophy is love for his people. And because I create a scent that like, he's very warm because he's warm-hearted.
Yes.
Yeah. And also all the palaces in Korea are made by wood, and all the books, also the books is from the paper, is from wood. And he's kind of like addicted to read a book a lot.
Really?
So he also had an eye problem, just like me. Yeah. Maybe that's why I chose him. But the first perfume, now I have a good vision, so no worries. Yeah.
That's good. That's good.
So I create very woody, but also warm. And also I imagined he just read a book under very warm, dry sunshine in April, in the spring in Korea. And my or the fans of this Sejong the Great woody perfume, they also imagined exactly the same thing. So it was very, to me, it was literally touching. Yeah.
Wow.
They told me they're like, oh, I can imagine. And then they even said like, oh my gosh, I feel like I just slept a little bit. And then I woke up and my king, the Sejong the Great, he just, he covered his jacket. Something like that. Because we have a very famous story about him. Yeah.
Wow.
So, this is our bestseller, and some people, they compare this woody scent to Diptyque, the French perfumery, its perfume brand. diptyque, they have Oh Woody perfume, very globally famous perfume. And they told me that Oh is very humid, woody. But this one is very dry, woody, sandalwood, and vetiver. But it was really interesting because Oh is inspired by holy forest in Southeast Asia, which is very humid. And this one I created because my inspiration and imagination is very dry and very warm, just the springtime in Korea. And to me, it's very impressive that it's delivered so well, even though nobody sees. And through the invisible perfume, it really makes you visible. Yeah.
Wow. And you were explaining before how when you went to New York, the way that you would explain where you're from is by talking about like who was on the
Right.
Korean Won bills,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
So the idea of, I guess, launching a perfume brand where these historical figures were kind of the centerpiece, was that always the idea? Or how long did it take you to decide to do a project like this?
Thank you for asking.
Yeah.
So since 2013 and before I launched the Heroes of Korea, I also launched another fragrance line.
Oh, really?
So that was called Narda around the world, and I created a scent inspired by the destination of Korea. So I created a Jeju Gyeolpung, Jeju scent, and also I created a DMZ scent. Yeah.
Interesting.
But then it was not a perfume. It was a diffuser and also room spray because the regulation and the MOQ are different. So that's why I started a room fragrance first. But then my second brother, I have two older brothers, and my second brother told me that like, I like your idea. I mean, DMZ and Jeju is known for Korean tangerines, so it's very citrusy. But in DMZ, nobody goes there, so it's very green and nature, wild. But I think it's even more visible when you imagine and think about people. And we have great heroes in Korea.
Yes.
Why don't you create a perfume inspired by heroes of Korea? So I give all the credits for my second brother. That was it was his idea.
Wow, it's a great idea. So the first one and the Sejong one, this was the first one that you developed and sold initially, and then you have 4 others as well, right? So you could go in which order you would prefer, but can you share a little bit about the significance and kind of why you decided to pick some of these heroes also?
I mean, so when I started thinking about, heroes of Korea, but then I remembered what I did in New York when I studied. So, Sejong the Great, the figure of 10,000 won.
Yes.
Then, we have another figures, 50,000 won, which is really sensational because we have a female figure, 50,000 won, the biggest bill in Korea. And so the second one is Shin Sa-imdang. It's very citrusy because she was she was literally the beginning of Joseon Dynasty, and she was very bold, and she had her own voice. And people didn't think about her in that way because people think because her son was famous, her son was very well educated. So a lot of people only think about she is the mother figure, but as a woman, she was very strong. And she knew how to express what she wants. So she even scolded her husband, go to the temple to study and don't ever even come back home before you accomplish something. But her husband came back home without anything, with nothing. So she even yelled at him, go back, Otherwise, I'm gonna be a female monk. Yeah, so she was. I like the. I like her characteristic. Yeah, because she knew how to express. Yeah, and then she had her own voice, and also we have a very famous story. There was a woman who was in a trouble during kind of like Korean party that time. Even that time, Korean females, I mean, I think it's just all the same globally. So even that time, literally 450 years ago, even that time, people borrowed costume to participate to the party in Korea. So she knew the other guest. She borrowed the Korean costume. Is called hanbok.
Right.
But because of some steps, spill it. Yeah, the
Some spill.
food,
Yeah.
on the costume, and she borrowed. So 신사임당, because she was talented at painting, so she painted on that dress.
Wow.
Korean hanbok. But then she told her, you just go to the market and sell this dress, then you're gonna pay back to the person who lent to the dress, and also you can make a new dress, a new skirt. I think like that shows her that like she knew how to use her power, her talent, and then help other people who are in trouble. So I create a scent very citrusy and grapefruit, so refreshing. And I imagine that someone who is in charge of managing her team members, but who knew how to protect her team members. You know, sometimes the other team kind of like attacked these team members like for no reason, but then she's the boss and she was a very good person, good leader, and then she literally go to that team and then like, don't ever attack my team members, just to talk to me, something like that. Very charismatic, but at the same time very warm-hearted, charismatic boss. So I just imagined it. And then female career-driven people, they wear 신사임당 a lot. And also when little kids, they smell 신사임당 or the perfume, and they called their mom and I just found very good scent for you. Can I buy it? I'm like, oh my gosh, that is my little joy and pleasure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow. And so this whole process for you must have been also kind of educational experience, because even though I imagine you probably had been exposed or educated about some of these like great Korean figures when you were young, when you're trying to develop a perfume for them, you probably have to go back and digest some of their history, their biography, like other historical artifacts that say something about who they are, because the process is you choose a figure and then you try and find a scent that fits their personality and I guess like the characteristics that represent them. Yeah.
Right. And Tiger, that is a very keen point. Yeah, right. We all grew up with these figures, historical figures, but when I studied about them, oh my gosh, I didn't know that. I didn't know 신사임당, she was, I mean, that episode is very popular to paint for the other female guest, but the other part, like she scolded at her husband, and even she was ill before she died, but she told her husband because she knew her husband was cheating, and then she even told him like, don't get married again. Hey, we we were grown. I mean, our kids are all grown-ups, and we are all old, kind of. Like,
Yes.
what is the point to get married after I die? So please don't get married. And she even told that.
Wow.
Yeah, but her husband, got married again after her death. Yeah. But I didn't know that, like, she had that strong voice.
Wow.
So
Wow.
I told you that, like, Korean female, we don't change the last name after marriage.
Yes, that was
Yeah.
a big surprise to me. I mean, maybe that's obvious for people in Korea because that's the standard, but like in the U.S., right? That's quite foreign.
Yeah, I think that's the beauty to live abroad. At some point in your life, you learn something that, like, oh, I didn't know that is important. That is something different.
Right.
Because I thought it was just everybody.
Yes.
And then only the movies, American movies, they change their last name.
Right.
But then when I was in New York, I explained, Korean women, we don't change our last name. And they asked me why.
Right.
Because we always have the right of succession. So we don't have to change the last name because we have a right of a succession.
Yes.
Yeah, and then they were so impressed. They were so surprised. To me, oh, I didn't know that they made you surprised.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
And does anybody in Korea ever, like, do the women ever take the last name, or that would be very, very unusual for that to happen?
I think I never
Came across anybody.
Yeah, I've
Yes.
never heard any Korean woman married Korean
Yes.
and change their last name. I've never.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's because they have a right to the inheritance,
Yes.
just as I guess the men do as well, right?
Oh yeah.
Yes. 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 Huh.
The same right. Yeah.
Wow. That's fascinating.
But I mean, after several wars in Korea, in Joseon dynasty, it was changed, but it has been all the times. Yeah.
Wow. So the order in which you decided to launch some of these perfume like characters, it was Sejong was first,
Yes.
and then was Shin Saimdang the second, or so it is
It's
right order.
second because she's the figure of the biggest Korean bill.
Yes.
50,000 won. So 50,000 is like Benjamin Franklin in America.
Yes. Do you recall how long she has been on the 50,000 bill? Has it been a while?
It's been a while.
Okay.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's been already a decade. No, yeah, it's quite
Because if somebody had asked me, like a Korean person had asked me, are there any women on the Korean bills? I would have said, no way, but I was very surprised to hear.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, we have it. I think it's very rare to have a female figure in the bill. Yeah.
Yes. And then is Lee Sun-shin, is he also on one of the bills?
Yes, but not a bill, in a coin.
On a
Yeah.
coin. Okay. So for the people who are not familiar
with the coins.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes. Can
right.
you share a little bit about him as well?
Oh yeah. So Lee Sun-shin, he's the admirer who beats Japanese troops. Yeah, and he's the master of the fight better on the sea. And then I think the UK and Japan, they studied more about him than us.
Really?
Yeah, because his strategy and then his way to beat the Japanese troops is so remarkable. Yeah.
Yeah, before we had this conversation, I was just doing some research on some of the figures, and I was just using like ChatGPT to try and understand a little bit more historical background. And ChatGPT had said something like during Japanese-Korean naval war, like Lee Sun-shin had, I think it was 13 like ships, and he beat like 300 of the Japanese ships.
300 ships, yeah, something like that. And so a lot of people told me that, like, oh, then Lee Sun-shin should be so strong and so masculine. And then I read his journal, and then his journal is all of worries, and then like, oh my gosh, it's very hard to read because he's only worried about his like obviously the battle, and then also the king and his mother and his soldiers, and then oh my gosh, it's more about like what is it called? Like, it's not a journal. It's more like just the record of all the worriness.
Ah, wow.
So yeah. So even though he was very tall, he was 6'7" probably.
6'7",
Yeah,
wow.
6'7", and then he's very big. Yeah. But inside, he's very, of course, he's a decision maker because of, and he had to be careful and everything. So inside, he's battling even more. So I create a scent that someone like him, tall and then masculine and big.
Yes.
And even King was jealous of him because every time he made a victory, the king, obviously people don't like the king.
Yes.
They love Lee Sun-shin more. So I just imagined he's the C-level, let's say he's a CMO or CTO. He's more like CTO. Yeah.
Yes.
He's a CTO, but CEO doesn't like him. But he's tall and then like he's big. If he walks into this meeting room, I don't think he smells so strong, so masculine, because he doesn't have to impress other people through the scent. Because already he's impressive. Yeah. So probably he wears something very soft, just like soapy. Yeah. So I create a scent very soapy and then soft and tender, floral, and a little bit aqua, but not that strong aqua from Italy, from France. It's very breezy aqua. Yeah.
Wow.
So a lot of people imagined it, and they told me that like they feel like they wear Lee Sun-shin Eau de Perfume after they finish a big deal. So that's what I imagine. After he beat the battle and then he victorious, he won the battle, and then he just relieved a little bit, and then he gives his peace to himself. Not the way to impress other people.
Wow.
Just only for his inner peace.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, that's very interesting. He's very, I guess, more others-oriented, not just self-oriented. I had read, because I had done a little bit of research on him as well, but he was saying that like when he died in battle, and he had like told them not to communicate the death because it would hurt the like morale of the warriors if they knew that he died. So that's quite incredible.
I'm glad you knew that. Yeah.
I just learned that today before we had this conversation.
Yeah. I mean, that's him. Yeah, he thinks more about other people. So to me, those type of people don't wear too strong scent because they don't want to irritate other people through the strong scent.
Fascinating. And for each of the perfumes, you have like the cards, which kind of provide a description of the scents and also some of the ingredients that are in there as well. When it comes, so it's some of them say like top, heart, and base. These are like different components of what goes into perfume. Is that like standard type of vocabulary for perfumes? Is having these different components?
So a lot of people think that like, top note is like this and this. So basically, this is like the time. The top note is more like first impression. When you meet someone, let's say you are in the blind date.
Yes.
You meet someone new, and then the first impression, you like her or not, something like that. So the top note is more like first impression. The middle note, and also sometimes it's called a heart note, which I prefer. So the heart note is more like what we do right now. We spend time together. We talk to each other, right?
Right.
So your presence is here. So the heart note is more like the kind of a stem of the plant. Yeah, so it literally gives the definition of this perfume. Where it goes, which direction, and then base note to me, base note is something that like you take a part of that person and you think about how it was like without their presence. Yeah, to me, the base note is more like that.
Fascinating. Wow.
Yeah.
I'm glad I asked because I had no clue. Yes.
So yeah, it's more like so yeah, to me it's more like the time wise. Yeah, so to me that's why perfume is life. The top note is like youth. It's sparkling, and then you know it's like just popping out.
Yes.
And then you know exactly what it is like. And then the heart note is more like your middle age. You know where you go. You know which direction you want to go, right? And then the bass note, to me, I don't want to say senior because these days, who are seniors? They all look young.
Yeah.
To me, the bass note is someone who know how to help the other people, and also people who remember, yeah, and then who think about how they are going to be remembered. Yeah, some people, something like that. So to me, bass note is the stage of life is something like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That makes sense. And so you have these three here and then these two, and there's actually like a category difference between the two, right?
So these are called the Korean won collection. Yeah. So one is the Korean currency. Yeah.
Yes.
So it's like dollar.
Yep.
Yeah. So this is a Korean won collection, and at the same time, Korea won.
Yes.
Yeah, Korean won.
Yes, champion.
Right.
Success.
And then this one is called Korean Artistic Collection, and our first perfume is called Hanansaran. So she was born in the middle of the Joseon Dynasty, and she was the first generation that the bride moved to the groom's house. Before her, Korean female, we didn't move to groom's house. The grooms moved to the bride's house.
Huh. Wow.
Yeah, but she was the first generation who moved to the groom's house. She was very talented. She was a poet, and even that time, even though Sejong the Great, he created a Korean alphabet, but still there are a lot of people were illiterate, and especially females were illiterate.
They couldn't read. Yeah.
They couldn't read, but her father educated her to read, and she was very good at reading, but she was excellent at writing a poem. So she was considered the first K-wave because her poems were very popular in China.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fascinating.
So I create a scent very fresh green eucalyptus because I want her like, oh my gosh, you were just like girl this way, and then everybody can see your talent. Because when she was alive, she was not that loved. Yeah.
Really?
Because her husband didn't like her talent, and her mother-in-law couldn't read and couldn't write, but probably she thought, I'm so jealous of her. She read so well. Yeah, so I create a scent, eucalyptus, very green, and then it's sharp, and then you see the presence and also the talent. And after that, the heart note is more jasmine, but not like strong, the dominant jasmine. It's more like loving and very sweet jasmine, but not like sweet like gourmet, yeah, dessert. It's just a very Tinkerbell
Yes.
jasmine. So people who wear Hanansaram, I want them loved. I want their talents are just loved, and I want the best for them. Because if she lives right now, she's the writer for the number one Netflix drama.
Wow.
Yeah,
She's
she could be.
the origin of the K-wave, the
Yes,
very first of
yes,
the
yeah,
K-wave.
very first.
Huh. That's fascinating. And the process of kind of tinkering or experimenting with the right mix is you have like a scent in mind, and then once you hit the right mix, then you know it's complete. Or like is it a long process? Can you tell me a little bit about like
Oh,
what that looks like? You have
absolutely.
a list of ingredients and you're just playing around with them. Like how
Yeah.
does that work?
So I also asked the same question to Francis Kojong when I was in Paris, and then he told me, I think his answer was so accurate. He told me that like the nose doesn't have a thinking, the brain thinks. So to create a scent, it's more like the brain work. You imagine, and then because of your accumulated experience, the olfactive experience, you smell all the things, you combine, you blend, and then you know where it goes. It's just like painting. If you put red and then black and also white color, you know where it goes, right? So because of that experience, I just imagine where it goes. So I focus on imagination, and also I spend a lot of time on writing a formula first. But then when I start blending process is very short compared to the imagination and also the formula time.
Wow. And the amount of time that it took to get to, let's say, the final recipe for each of these, is it quite different? Like, are you talking maybe like a few weeks or like many months or sometimes years for some of them?
Most of them I spent at least 6 months.
At least 6 months.
Yes. And
Wow.
I created, obviously, not only one perfume.
Yes.
I created a lot of perfumes. And I have very good friends.
Yes.
And they all have a different skin types and different diet. And they are my perfect perfume wearers,
Yeah.
perfume skin. So I spray the perfume on their skin, and then we just tested how it goes in a different way, and then it's just different. Yeah.
Wow.
And that is the beauty of perfume. It's just different. Yeah.
And in terms of perfumes in Korea or maybe like Asia in general compared to like Western cultures, do you know, is it pretty similar where like both men and women wear perfume at similar like rates, or is it more prevalent in one society or the other? Do you know? Like most of the people that buy your perfume, does it tend to skew towards women, I assume, or also men are buying your perfume as well?
We are 50-50.
50-50,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah.
Oh,
My
wow.
YouTube subscribers are also 50-50 as well.
Oh,
Yeah.
fascinating.
Yeah.
Huh.
So, but okay, so in Asia, especially in Korea, we have a Korean word. So 1954, yeah. So we still had a word their time. And so to wear a perfume is not something Korean were very used to. Yeah. I think it's even like 1980s. So after Korean War, the first generation, the 30 years, still because of the war, I think like there were not many people who wear a perfume that time.
Because the country was still quite poor.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I gave a lecture, so I have met about 3,000 participants, and I talked to them, and then I listened to their memories. A lot of times in Korea, it's very hard to hear about their grandfathers, their memory about related to their grandparents
Right.
after they smell something.
Huh.
In contrast, the European and also even Americans, they brought the memories are related to the perfume, their grandparents, because they didn't have a Korean word in their 1950s.
Right.
So they brought their memories with their grandparents so easily. Western Europeans, yeah, literally all the times.
Yes.
Yeah, all the times. Their memories with their grandparents all the times, but not in Korea. So I always encourage that my participants, you are going to be the first generation whom are going to be remembered through the scent. I mean, of course, it's good to be remembered by anything,
Sure.
like jewelries, bags, and then. But perfumes, scents are just easy.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
If you go to the Herald department store in London, or the other any stores in any other words, you can smell, and then you're going to be remembered, right?
Right.
So I told them, yeah, I think you're going to be the first generation to be remembered through the scent. So wear perfume.
Wow.
Heroes of Korea.
Yes.
The right perfume, please. Yes.
So, relatively speaking, perfume industry in Korea is quite young. Yes.
Quite young, but also the scent, the notes are different because I told you we don't grow up with the strong musky and strong spicy things like that. So because of that, these days you can see a lot of perfumes even made in Europe and America lighter, fresher,
Yes.
and woody.
Yeah.
Woody scents
Yes.
were very popular before. Yeah. And I think that's affected by the growth of Asian market.
Fascinating. Yeah, it seems like learning about perfumes, and it's almost like learning a whole different language, right? Because I mean, even before we started recording, you were talking to me a little bit about how you're very passionate about food as well, right? Like you're a big
love
foodie,
food,
right?
yes.
And it makes a lot of sense if you're both a foodie and somebody that's interested in perfumes as well, because the taste and smell combination
Right.
is like so intricately linked. And sometimes people will whether give me food or give me scents, and all I can say is, yeah, it smells good, right? But I don't have the language of how to articulate some of the differences. So it really is a whole education on how to express yourself.
Oh, but you already knew because when you have some food, certain type of food, and then you remember your grandparents or it's just that is you.
Yes.
Yeah. So I want people are more appreciative of what they have, especially their memories and their emotions. And I want they are grateful for who they are.
Yes. I think it is very admirable mission. So there's one more left, right? This
Yes.
is Kim Hongdo?
Yeah, so he's the painter, and you can see his paintings at the museum in London.
Huh.
Yeah.
Wow.
So the founder of Samsung, he donated. Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay. When was he alive, roughly? Do you
He's
know?
roughly the late 17th,
17th or 18th century.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
because when he was alive, there were two kings.
Okay.
So he was the only person who painted two kings of Joseon dynasty, Yeongjo and Jeongjo. Yeah. So he painted portraits, and also he painted we call Minsokwa, which is like he painted ordinary people's life. Yeah.
Okay.
Because even that time, that was not considered noble or cool. Yeah. But he's not from a noble class. He was from just the ordinary class. So there was a lot of limit, but he didn't complain. He only painted. What I really loved about him, he worked for Joseon Dynasty, kind of like official painting brew, which is non-paid work. But he worked for that because because they gave him a chance to paint two kings and also the kind of national ceremonies and things like that. But he worked for free.
Wow.
That's why after he finishes his work at the brew of the painting, official painting office, he went back home and he painted again to pay his bills. Yeah. So he sold his paintings. Yeah. So when he died, he only left one painting to his son.
Really?
Yeah. Even that painting came out during the Japanese colonization. Yeah. So Japanese tried to sell that painting. So they showed that his son was in trouble. Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
So he painted and painted and painted. So I created a scent that like Korean ink is called mok. Yeah. So woody, and also of course he painted through on the papers, Korean papers. So woody and ink, but the top note is very pink, mehwa, which is a plum blossom in Korea. Yeah, but we call mehwa, and mehwa is the symbol of a Korean novel class because it is a blossom at the end of winter, in literally the harsh winter time. So during Japanese colonization period of time, the mehwa is a symbol of a Korean spirit.
Wow.
So I just I created the top note because he never gave up. Even though he's not from the noble family, just he never gave up. He just pursued painting and painting, even though he's not paid.
Wow.
Yeah. So when I created the scent for Kim Hong-do, the perfume, I had a really, really amazing time to imagine. Oh my gosh. And also, it was really hard during the COVID-19. It's
Yes.
hard to meet people. And then, so I kind of like, just to put myself into his shoes and like, oh my gosh, should I give up? But I'm like, no. Even he didn't give up. And what is the point to give up?
Yes.
So I kept pursuing. Yeah.
Wow.
So luckily, artists, they love Kim Hong-do. Yeah. They are like, oh, this is like just like me. And then I feel like I'm just in my atelier. I feel like I'm just like focusing, and then I'm immersed to just create something. And then I'm just in the middle of that flow.
Yes.
And that was really touching to me. Yeah.
So it says on the card, it says Meihua and monk, right? So
Right.
monk is like almost a monk mindset kind of
Yes.
thing. Super focused.
Oh,
Wow.
mug is the
That's
Korean
the
ink.
that's the ink.
But monk is very good mindset.
Yes.
Empty. Yeah.
So there's 5 of them now,
Yes,
right?
5.
And I imagine there's many more heroes of Korea that you could
Yes.
think about. Is your plan to launch more, or I
Of
guess
course.
yeah?
Of course. I wanna create more. Yeah. And then I told you that so the reason I have been so hectic because I had I closed the deal to the merge and acquisition.
Yes, congratulations, by the
thank
way.
you so much. So I can focus on creating and branding more, and now I have a great company, and then they focus on the places and promotions and things like that. So yeah, it's a very good.
Wow.
It's a very good partnership, and yeah.
How recently was that deal? With this in 2024, the last year?
No, it was only like a week ago.
A week ago.
Yeah.
Wow. So your life is changing quite dramatically now. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean,
but in a good way.
yeah, in a good way. I mean, my life is still same. Yeah, a little bit more paperwork.
Yes. Yes.
But literally, it's the same.
Wow.
Yeah, the creating, and then also just to talk to you, someone like you.
Yes.
Yeah, who is brilliant and also brave.
Thank you.
Yeah, and also bright. Yeah. So to deliver the message, why I create a scent,
Yes.
a perfume. So yeah, my life is quite same with a little bit more paperwork.
Hopefully only temporary, right? Like
Yeah,
just
temporary,
some paperwork right now,
yeah.
but then later it gets easier.
Yeah, so
Um,
I mean that's why I told you before we start
Yes.
this one. If you wanna create something and if you wanna launch your own brand and
Yes.
company because you like something, that one thing, right? But because you wanna pursue the thing you like, you should do 99 things that you don't like.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, that's what I have been doing for last decade, I think.
Wow. Wow. Incredible.
Yes.
And for people that are interested in purchasing the perfumes, like today, they're only available for Korean consumers, or they're also available for people internationally?
Yeah, right now it's only available in Korea, but that's why we are heading global. So next month we are going to be in Osaka, in Japan.
Yes.
And so hopefully we are going to be in America as well.
Great.
So that you can come and then you can experience. Yeah.
Amazing, amazing. And the book that you wrote, I Love Perfume, you wrote that, it was just a couple years ago, right?
Yes.
That was published?
Yes.
And that's only available in Korean right now.
Yeah, only available in Korean.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
That makes sense.
And also, this is a limited edition. It's a car air freshener. Yeah, so I traveled the very small village in Korea, Andong Kumsomal, and then I created a scent inspired by the trip to Kumsomal, the small village.
Fascinating.
And it's very wild, green, dry green. Yeah, so this is a gift for you.
Oh, thank you so much. I
You're
appreciate
welcome.
it. That's
and
amazing.
also this is another gift for you.
Thank you. I get my own perfume, huh? Isunshin. This is this one.
Yes, yes.
Great.
Because I think you're so brave to relocate yourself, and you have an amazing career, and now you're in Korea to
Yes.
explore and to. This is a great journey, and life is a journey.
Yes.
And so I hope 이순신 Eau de Perfume gives you peace and then makes you relax.
Thank you so much. I'm very humbled. I'm very grateful.
Thank you.
This has been a lot of fun. In terms of, I guess maybe two questions. One, in terms of the whole journey of making the perfumes and gathering the ingredients and figuring out the right mix, and then ultimately the branding and selling it. Like for you, what is the most difficult or challenging parts of this entire process?
Oh my gosh, that is going to be another podcast.
Is there anything specific that stands out in terms of the most difficult aspect?
To create.
Yes.
Because there are a lot of companies who copy the perfume.
Yes.
Yeah, because I understand. Because it's hard to survive.
Yes.
It's hard to maintain. But because I didn't hire anybody, I just do all the things by myself, and I didn't spend any single penny for marketing.
Yes.
I only focus on branding, and that's why I just created content about perfumes, and I wrote a book.
Yes.
So blog and YouTube and Instagram, I create my own content.
Yes.
And I didn't spend any money for marketing, and that's how I survive. So to me, the biggest challenge is surviving. Yeah, and that's the definition of running a business. You have to survive.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And how come, I mean, you mentioned you've basically done all of this for the past 10 years, mostly by yourself, right? Like you've had some help. You've had some partnership.
Yes, I have a great partners.
Yes.
So that's how, otherwise I cannot make, of course I cannot make these things. Yeah.
Yes. Huh. But you still have done it in, I would say, seems like a very organic, authentic way without like losing too much control, right? Because there are other more commercial companies you probably could have pursued, maybe like, I don't know, raising much more money, spending more money on marketing, spending more money on a bigger team, things like that. With how you've navigated the process, your thought process has always been survival first. Is that why?
I think so I had a great lesson because I told you before we start this podcast. I had a kind of like personal lesson. I was an interpreter for the magazine in Korea when they interviewed the founders of Intelligentsia Coffee in Chicago and in Los Angeles. And that was so inspiring. So sometimes I feel like, what if I interviewed the finest people at that time? Then probably my way to play the game is totally different. So, or VC or other investors. So it's going to be different. But the Intelligentsia founder, Doug Gell, he was just like me. He was a creator. He had a very firm idea to deliver fine quality coffee to America. That's it. Then, because he also had a failure, he ran out of his business in San Francisco, the tea business. Then he moved to Chicago back. He's from Chicago, so he opened the Intelligentsia first store cafe, and he did everything.
Really?
He made all the logos, printings, and he cleaned the toilets, and then he also, made the coffees.
Yes.
And then he literally did everything. And to me, as a founder, because there is a mission to survive, and also to not only surviving, to keep why you start your own business. To me, the reason why I start my perfume business, I create something different perfumes than the French people or the other European people can make well.
Yes.
They create perfume very well, but I'm just different.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't want to say I'm better or they are better. We are just different. Korean, we are just different. And I'm different. I just create a perfume that reflect who I am and where I'm from.
Yes.
And that's how I started. So that's the thing, to survive, to keep why I start, why I do this.
Yes, yes. And can I also ask, like, in terms of, you had said that the first few years after you graduated from school or after your education, you had spent on a separate project was that in New York?
Yes.
Was your eventual hope or plan always to come back to Korea and do something here? Or at that time, you didn't know if you would be in Korea, be in the US, be in maybe Europe, doing something different? Did you have some sort of end goal?
I always had a vision there, like, I'm going to be an artist or entrepreneur, and then to go anywhere globally, and then to deliver the message and to be a speaker. Yeah, so in New York, there was a really great opportunity to launch the brand with my classmate. She was a designer, and then I was her kind of like business partner. Yeah, so she had a great network, and we were invited to a business meeting, and that really, literally, that formed me. Yeah.
Really?
In a way to run and to launch a business. I think I had just a life lesson.
Yes.
In New York and also in Chicago with the Intelligentsia founder and CEO and vice president. And they gave me how to start and maintain the brand. Because you can start a business, but it's very hard. It's different to have a brand. Yeah.
And how about a question for yourself in terms of perfumes? My girlfriend wanted me to ask you, like, if you could only wear one perfume for, the rest of your life, would it be one of these perfumes? Would it be a different one? Are there perfumes in your life that have some sort of significance to you?
I think like I should mimic the other perfumers said before. My next perfume.
Your next. That's a good answer. That's a very good answer. So, are there already some plans in the works? You guys are working on new perfumes. Exciting.
Yes.
Okay. And for people that are in Korea, they can just purchase your perfumes. Is it in stores or only online at this point?
It's only online,
Only online?
but we're right now we're preparing for our very first showroom. Yeah, near here.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow. Exciting.
Yeah.
Okay. And maybe lastly, in terms of future projects related to what you're doing right now or even personally that you're excited about, is there anything like top of mind or just maybe your upcoming travel?
Yeah. So right now, like focusing on building our brand more firmly and also globally.
Yes.
Yeah, I know still we're a very tiny, small company. However, I want people are inspired by heroes of Korea, and I always believe we are all heroes. Life is tough, so to survive and then to beat the life,
Yes.
and then even enjoy it, you're heroes. Yeah. So I want to deliver that message, and also my other kind of a project is I want to talk more about dating life
yes.
in Korea. Yeah, so a lot of people are so integrated and they are very interested in dating scene in Korea.
Yes.
So whenever I talk to something about it, and they were like, "Oh my gosh, what is wrong with these people?" And then, "Oh my gosh, what is fascinating?"
Yes.
So I mean, I think cosmopolitan cities are the same. New York, obviously, and also. Oh yeah, Chicago and Tokyo, and then but a lot of my followers are singles, so even I have a questionnaire that like I asked my single followers to fill in the questionnaires, and I did a blind date. I set up the blind date for my subscribers.
Oh wow.
Yes, so basically, you don't even see their face.
That's very popular here in Korea, right? These blind dates or
blind dates are popular, but you at least you know who you're going to meet. You see the picture.
Yes.
But we don't show the picture.
Okay.
So because we already like kind of match.
Yes.
And then and also a lot of people are so busy. So even though your friends set up the blind date and you exchanged the phone number, but you never meet because of your business travel, your meetings, your overtime work, and things like blah blah blah, a lot of excuses. So you never meet them. So me, no. I set up the date and time and the venue. You should show up there. Yeah, so there are many people who participated in it. And then I never ask. You meet, that's all. I only set up the meeting. And then you show up, you're meeting there, and I never ask. How was it like?
Wow.
No, I don't bother them. But I received the feedback a couple of months later or 3 months later. They just DM'd me, Kakao me, like, it was really nice person you set up. Thank you so much.
Wow.
So we had a good time. However, unfortunately, something, blah, blah. But it was a very nice and gentle way to see. So a lot of people are very interested about that.
Wow. So you were setting up blind dates these were people that you knew that were your followers, right?
Yes.
Or did you not know some of these as well? You knew all of them?
No. Some people I don't know.
Wow.
Them. Yeah, but I read their writings, and then I see the face, and then only I. Yeah.
There's some service like this or not really?
In Korea,
yes,
of course,
it's quite
there are
common.
a lot of services like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Interesting.
Of course, Korea we have matchmakers, and then we have dating apps as well, and something like that. We have a lot.
Yes.
The reason I started it because the perfume, like
because of the perfume.
Yeah, it's very. A lot of people ask me, what perfume should I wear for a blind date? And then, I don't like that guy's perfume. And I told them, according to the research, that shows you have no chemistry
Oh,
to him
really?
or her. Yeah.
Is that
Yeah.
something that's studied?
Oh,
Just
yeah.
just the perfume that they
Yeah.
wear and whether or not it makes sense.
Right. So and then if you smell something bad, if you smell odor from him or her
Yes.
at the first time, there's really no chemistry. Yeah, it's just proven because we should survive. That's why we detect bad things first. So probably if you guys kiss together, maybe no, we never know, but
Yes.
definitely no chemistry.
Fascinating.
So it was very natural. We talk about chemistry and then, what should I wear? And then, so those kind of relationship thing. After marriage, I have a client and then he told me that like my wife, he took a shower twice a day. And then of course I was not that close to him, but
Right.
everybody can tell he's such a nice looking one and he was very well maintained. But he told me that like my wife told me I smell. He smells bad. And he got hurt. Yeah. So I couldn't tell him, but I was like, maybe you guys needed to visit the
counselor or something like that.
Something
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that.
Coach, relationship
Yeah,
coach.
it kind of shows something. Yeah. So yeah, but
Wow.
it's very hard.
Yes.
Like in a human society, there are a lot of things you never talk, but especially the smell thing, you smell so bad. Your breath is so bad, something like that. It's very hard to say, to tell.
Of course.
Yeah, even though it's true, it's really hard. Yeah.
Wow. So maybe in 2025 you will do some more sharing on this love dating topic as well. It's possible.
Yeah, right. So I mean, even Hanan Soran, Art of Perfume, my fans, they told me they're like, whenever I wear this perfume, I got the second date.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. The guys, they have a blind date, always ask them what perfume is like. And they ask them, can we meet you again? Yeah.
That's the best maybe form of marketing, no? I feel like if you have that on your website, like guaranteed to get second date,
Yes,
then a lot of
guaranteed.
people will be buying. Oh,
Yeah.
amazing.
And also a lot of people ask me what perfume should I wear to attract a woman,
Yes.
guys and girls. So I asked them back, what woman, what man you want to attract.
Yeah.
That is more important. Yeah.
Wow.
So that is going to be another podcast.
Well, when I first spoke with you, I wasn't sure what kind of conversation we would have, but it's very cool to like perfume industry is something completely new to me, but the fact that it is like very Korea focused and trying to share a little bit about like the historical figures is like a perfect for Cambridge conversation. So I'm very glad that Jusuk introduced you and I.
Thank you,
and
Jusuk.
Thank you for coming on the podcast. It was a lot of fun.
Oh, thank you, Tiger. Yeah, I mean, thank you for having me.
Yes,
yeah,
of
thank
course.
you so much.
My pleasure, and I wish you and Heroes of Korea all the best in 2025.
Thank you.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.